Little Woody. Oh my God. Entered chambers at 10:03. Also present were Judge Glanville, ADA Simone Hilton, Attorney Kayla Bumpus, Court Reporter Christina Weaver, Investigators Antonio Long and Rashid Hamilton, and Deputy Houston, Deputy McPherson, Sergeant Brown, Sergeant Hall with the Fulton County Sheriff's Department. Glanville. Okay, Little Woody. Can you let him know I got a hearing problem? Okay, in comes Little Woody. Kayla says, okay. He said, he is hard of hearing. Glanville. That makes two of us. I've got a hearing aid that's coming on the 27th of January. In June. So I'll try and talk loud. Is it okay if Little Woody? Yeah, I can read lips. Glanville. Okay, good. Mr. Copeland, good morning. Little Woody, good morning. Glanville. All right. I just wanted to bring you over and let you talk with Miss Bumpus and see if there is anything you need to ask of your counsel or Miss Hilton or the state or the court before we bring you out this morning, because we would like to hear your testimony. And that is kind of where we are at this point in time. So is there anything you would like to ask? Little Woody. Well, I want to speak with you personally that I have never been truthful a day in my life until I just made this statement right now. I don't comprehend none of this stuff that's going on. Glanville. Okay, well, the only thing you can give is truthful testimony. Whatever you know is whatever you know. That's it. Miss Hilton. And what we'll say, and Mr. Copeland and we have talked about this. I'm not sure what your concerns are, what concerns you've expressed to Mr. Melnick last week. But if any of your concerns deal with being locked up for anything, you can't. There's nothing that can happen. The feds, Miss Bumpus says, well, that's not. Miss Hilton says, it is true. Miss Bumpus says, no, I said that's not his concern. Miss Hilton says, if his concern is his safety, we need to know that. That's not expressed. So we don't know what the concern is so that we can try to resolve the concern. That is what I'm saying. Mr. Copeland and I have had conversations before. I understand some of his concerns as potential criminal liability, hence why we gave you immunity. The federal statute of limitations, done. The statute of limitations, done. So there is nothing, I researched it this weekend again. Both of those statutes of limitations for what you and I talked about, which is in 2015 or before, done. You cannot be prosecuted for anything you testify federally or statewide. Immune, period. So if that is a concern, there is none, because you cannot be prosecuted. The federal statute of limitations is 5 years. So anything in 2015, 5 years would have been 2020. Anything statewide is 4 years. That would have been 2019. Finished. Next concern, what may happen in the street? You know what we have talked about, what we can do as far as living and all that. We have had those conversations. So I'm trying to express to you that we do not want you locked up. I don't know how many times I've got to tell you what I've got to say to you. We do not want you sitting in the cab or whatever they've got you because of this. I know you wanted to talk to me on Friday before you walked into court. We weren't able to talk. If you still want to talk with or without Miss Bumpus, I'm here, Little Woody. But we do not want you in custody. We will not. This order, I don't know if you kept your copy of the order, but this order says you are immune from prosecution, Little Woody. Any of it. Literally, Judge, you might want to close your ears. Judge, you might want to close your ears. If you confess to a murder on the stand and we don't have any other independent evidence outside of what you say on the stand, you are immune from prosecution from what you say in court. Simone just said that. Let me keep going. Oi, scrolled too fast. So again, I don't know what was communicated to you on Friday. I have no idea. But what the state has assured you, which I have assured you in our private conversations with Mr. Long, as I'm saying in front of Miss Bumpus, as I told you, that is what the order says. Glanville, and that is on direct or cross-examination. Miss Hilton, and that is on direct or cross-examination. Glanville. So if you're worried about what the defendants may ask you because they may know your business, but if they ask you about things that you might think you might have some liability with, you can't be prosecuted for any of those things. Lil Woody, I got family members watching this trial, and I don't want my nephew and them to hear the things that I may be involved in and think it's okay. Miss Hilton, but I think that's a separate conversation you can have with them as an honest individual. Like, look, nephews, I done lived the life that I don't want you to live. Don't go through what I've been through. But that's something you can have outside of being in jail, because that's a better conversation you can have with your nephews in person. But they shouldn't have to come to the DeKalb County Jail because you're being held in contempt. You can have that conversation with your nephews tomorrow in person. You can have that conversation with them. You can have that conversation with anybody. You know what's coming up this weekend. Why are we in jail? What are we doing? Lil Woody, but y'all did this intentionally. Miss Hilton, no, we did not. You and I had this conversation, Mr. Copeland, on Friday morning. Lil Woody, you knew my child's birthday was next week. Miss Hilton, but what did I tell you? When we met with each other, I said to you, you asked me, what is the one thing that's going to get me in jail? Didn't you ask me that? And what was my response? If you plead the fifth. And that is exactly what you did on the stand. Lil Woody. But what did I tell you before I got to that point? I told you the whole time, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Miss Hilton. But I told you we were giving you immunity. Lil Woody, that I was pleading the fifth. Miss Hilton, no, you did not. Lil Woody, I told you every day I was pleading the fifth. Miss Hilton, no, you did not. And we told you. Lil Woody, I told you my concern. Miss Hilton, and we said we could give you immunity. You said your concern is what they know about you. And when you said that, I said, well, you know stuff about them. And then I said, whatever your concerns are, we can give you immunity. Lil Woody. So I didn't tell you I lied on them to get myself out of the situation. Miss Hilton, you said you were a liar. That's what you said. You said you were a liar. They knew Lil Woody was going to go rogue. Page 28 out of 56. It's just starting. Miss Bumpus, was this recorded? Miss Hilton, no. Miss Bumpus, and did he ever say that Melnick was his attorney? Miss Hilton, no. This week, when we first met you in the car on Friday, we asked you, is Mr. Melnick your attorney? You said he's not my attorney. I haven't talked with him. Lil Woody, no, I never said he's not my attorney. I said I haven't talked to him. Miss Hilton, you said he's not your attorney. You haven't talked to him. Then we continued to have a conversation. At no point did you ever say to us, hey, I want Mr. Melnick here. Hey, put Mr. Melnick on the phone. Lil Woody, you didn't make me feel like I needed him. Miss Hilton, but if you needed him, we would have said, if you would have needed Mr. Melnick, we would have said to you, okay, just call him. So, I mean, that is our position. We don't want you in jail. We just want you to be able to purge yourself by testifying. Whatever your truth is what your truth is. But you have to just get an answer to the questions. We believe that whatever your truth is what your truth is. We know what you said before. I don't know what you're going to say on the stand. But what we know is pleading the fifth is going to keep you in custody. That's what I know. Now, how you answer your questions is how you answer your questions. I know what you said before, and I know what you said later. I mean, I know what you said before, and I don't know what you're going to say on the stand because you and I never went into full details about any of it. Simone is repeating herself here, guys. But what I don't want is you to be sitting here in custody. Little Woody, you did it. Miss Hilton, I did not do it. You did it by pleading the fifth. Little Woody, you told me before you went to the judge with whatever the thing called you went to him with, you told me that I can't, when I'm asked a question, I can say I don't recall or I don't know. You told me that if I plead the fifth, I mean something. Why would I plead the fifth to something I ain't do? And I said, you don't know what I did and what I ain't do. And then you was like something. And then y'all asked for this immunity. And I was like, it was something. And then Friday came, and then y'all go and tell me, oh, we went to the judge with this, so you got to testify. If you don't testify, the judge gonna lock you up. Miss Hilton, right. But that was based upon you, Little Woody. But I told y'all that. Miss Hilton, no, you didn't. Little Woody, you said, why would I plead the fifth to something I ain't do? And I said, you don't know what happened. Miss Hilton, and I said, I don't know what happened. Only you know and them know, I said. But you never said I'm pleading the fifth. You said, what if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do this? Little Woody, I told you, I said, I'm going to plead you said, why would you plead the fifth to something that you know you ain't do? Miss Bumpus, so if you didn't have immunity prior to, is that what you're saying? That you feel like he didn't have immunity prior to? Little Woody, immunity came Friday right when I went to jail. Miss Hilton, the immunity only came after Mr. Melnick. Miss Bumpus, hold on. Miss Hilton, the immunity came after Mr. Melnick sent us an email saying my client is pleading the fifth. That was on Thursday evening at 6 p.m. Miss Bumpus, okay. Miss Hilton, so after that was an empathic? He was pleading the fifth. Miss Bumpus says, Miss Hilton says, we came and we got this signed. Miss Bumpus, Miss Hilton says, and then Friday morning came, and then Kayla says, okay. Miss Hilton says, so between Friday evening, Mr. Melnick reached out to us and he represents him. He's pleading the fifth. Okay, I'm going to stop for a minute, guys, because I already spot something. We were talking to Kayla, and Judge Glanville went through a timeline, and he said Kayla and Little Woody had an hour conversation out of the chambers. I've been reading this for I don't know, almost an hour now, and we're on page 32. We're halfway through the transcript. Glanville didn't give us a correct timeline. Let's go back in. Miss Hilton, so between Friday evening, Mr. Melnick reached out to us, said he represents him. He's pleading the fifth. Miss Bumpus, okay. And when was the last time you talked to him before Mr. Melnick got involved? Miss Hilton, we talked to him early that day on Thursday. Miss Bumpus, okay. Then how speaks to, the court reporter couldn't hear it. She was talking to Little Woody. Little Woody says, he called me. Miss Bumpus says, okay, I was just trying to get a timeline. Miss Hilton, sure, right. So we have been talking since last Friday. So I met with Mr. Copeland last Friday, I think out in the neighborhood. Then he came on Tuesday for court. We talked briefly on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday he came. Little Woody said Thursday. Miss Hilton, no, I think he only came 2 days. So it had to be Wednesday and Thursday he came. It wasn't Tuesday. It was Wednesday and Thursday he came. And then on Thursday, once we left, is when Mr. Melnick reached out to us and said, my client is pleading the fifth. And at that point is when we went to the next morning and got the immunity motion. And then we spoke on Friday morning. I handed Mr. Copeland this agreement and let him know that he has immunity and that anything he says we cannot use. Then Mr. Melnick came, and then we had court. Miss Bumpus, so you're pretty much saying you didn't ask for this. Little Woody, I didn't. Miss Hilton, but we gave it. He doesn't have to ask for it. Miss Bumpus, I know. I'm just saying. Miss Hilton, right. He doesn't have to ask for it, but to alleviate whatever his concerns were, we gave him immunity. He didn't have to ask for it. Miss Bumpus, so if we wouldn't have had this, I'm just saying this is so he can understand it. I'm walking him through. Miss Hilton, Miss Bumpus, would he still have to testify, or would he have been able to plead the fifth? That's what he's saying. Miss Hilton, if he did not have immunity, Miss Bumpus, yes. Miss Hilton, yes, he could plead the fifth. Little Woody said, that's what I'm. Miss Bumpus, that's what he's trying to say. He's trying to say he didn't have to ask for this. Miss Hilton, but he doesn't have to ask for it. Now that we've given it to him, because that's on us. So now that we've given it to him, it's in order. He can still choose if this is the road he wants to take. Then he'll just stay in custody until the trial is over. Oh my God. And then we say the trial is over. Every last defendant has been tried. Not just these 6, the other ones too. Little Woody says, I done did longer time. Miss Hilton, all right, Mr. Copeland, I'm telling you that you are literally immune from prosecution from anything else you may say. That's that. So the choice is always up to you, but we wanted to put on the record, the state does not want you in custody. What the state would like you to do is purge yourself from Little Woody. What purge yourself mean? Miss Hilton, meaning that you are no longer in custody. And the way that you purge yourself is to testify. That is kind of how it happens. And that is what the state wants you to do. We want you in custody. We don't want you in custody. We can't say that we can't say that any other different way, but we don't want you in custody. The only thing that's holding you is you refusing to testify. Glanville. So do you have any questions, any other questions? Basically, if you invoke the fifth, Little Woody, I don't know what's going on. I don't trust nobody. I don't trust her word, but I don't know what's going on, Your Honor. Miss Hilton, this is your insurance. I don't know if you want to break that down to him. Miss Bumpus, well, he doesn't want that. Glanville, but he's been given it. See, that's the challenge, Mr. Copeland, is that if they didn't give you the immunity, you could invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. But what the state decided is that they said your testimony is worth more to them at this point in time, and they really want to know what you have to say. So they have made from the state's perspective, they have made a decision to give you immunity so you no longer can invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. You have to testify. So that's the difference in this particular scenario, is that they have taken away, well, you can still invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. You still can do that. But the consequence of invoking it is that you will just remain in custody. So if you testify, you get out of custody, and you can stay out of custody until you are done. Little Woody. And then if I don't testify, I have to stay until when? Judge Glanville, until the trial is over, until all of the defendants have been. I've got these 6 that we have right now. And then there's another 6. Miss Hilton, no, there's another 12. Witness coercion, just saying. The court, meaning Glanville, there's another 12, or there's about that are still outstanding in various forms or another. Little Woody, can I speak with her for a second? Glanville, yeah, sure. So this is the point, 36 pages in. This is the point where Little Woody leaves the chambers, and Little Woody goes and speaks to Kayla for a little bit. Judge Glanville, ADA Simone, court reporter, investigators Long and Rashid left the chambers at 10:17, and they came back at 10:33. So look at that, right? That's already a misconception. Little Woody and Kayla only talked for 16 minutes. That is not the timeline that was recorded in court today. Oh my God. Little Woody, my question is, I can ask you a question? Glanville, yes. Little Woody. So my question is, so what I was just asking her was, if you ask me a question and you feel and I was lying about it, will you lock me back up? Miss Hilton, no. If you are saying, you say, I didn't talk to Demikion, well, no, I can't talk about that because the judge is in here. You are asking, for example, if you said before that the sky was blue, and I asked you on the stand what color the sky is, and you said, I said the sky was red, I'm going to say no back before you ask me it was blue. Is that what you're trying to ask me? Simone said that to Woody in these chambers. Lil Woody said that shit on the stand 4 days later on Thursday. Remember the week he was being difficult? Remember the shoes? Remember when he looked at the court reporter and he repeated that exact same thing? He was a lot smarter than we thought he was. Shout out to Lil Woody. What you mean? Oh my God. Miss Bumpus. So explain the independent evidence. If he says he did something and you know he's not telling the truth, what happens? Miss Hilton, if he said he did something and he did not do that thing, Miss Bumpus, if you believe he did not, so if you believe that he's lying about that, Miss Hilton, then no, if he admits to doing something on the stand, and he did not do that thing, I'm going to say, if this is the first time you are saying that, Bumpus, if you have independent evidence to prove it wasn't him, then what? Hilton, then nothing. What do you mean? Like, Bumpus, so then he will be fine? Miss Hilton, yes, but Bumpus, so you're okay with him if he got on the stand and said things that weren't true? Oh, shout out to Kayla. That was good. That was good, Kayla. That was really good. Miss Hilton, no, I want him to tell the truth. Let me go back. What have I always said to you? I want you to tell the truth. I don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. I expect you to tell the truth. If you say something that is inconsistent with what you said before, then I'm going to ask about the inconsistencies, but I expect you to tell the truth. What you go on the stand and do, I don't know. I don't know what you are going to do. I want you to tell the truth, but I will deal with you, not you saying something different in the matter of that I normally do. Lil Woody. If I'm saying something different, right? So when the police question me, they don't question me every time they lock me up. I don't know how many times that was. I done told them whatever different story I could think of to try to finesse my way out of the situation. I don't recall what I done told them. Miss Hilton. Okay. You can say I don't recall. That is how that works. I don't recall. Miss Bumpus. And he can say that to every single question. Miss Hilton, I would hope that that is not the truth, because I think there are some things that you do recall and some things you don't. But the things you don't recall, you don't recall. And then I will go through my process of what I do. You can talk to him about what impeachment is. That won't get you locked up. Impeachment will not get you locked up. You can talk to him about what impeachment is. If he says, I don't recall, Lil Woody, what will get me locked up? Miss Hilton, what did I tell you? Lil Woody, I don't know. Miss Hilton, what you did on Friday. I pled the fifth. If the court instructs you, Lil Woody. So the only thing that gets me locked up is pleading the fifth. Miss Bumpus, yes. Miss Hilton, the court instructs you, you need to answer the question. You say again, I plead the fifth. Again, that's what's going to get you locked up. But if you answer the question, that will not get you locked up. Lil Woody. So if you don't want me in jail, why just don't you let me go after the trial over with? Miss Hilton, you are in jail because you are not answering the questions. Glanville, because you have been given immunity. Miss Hilton, because you have been given immunity. You are only in jail because you got up to here. Lil Woody, well, what about this? I answer the questions. You take away the immunity. I answer the questions and I plead the fifth. Miss Hilton, no. Miss Lil Woody, to questions I feel incriminate me. Miss Hilton, but then that's Lil Woody. I won't plead the fifth to things that don't incriminate me. Glanville, the state will still give you immunity. They can give you immunity to whoever they want, or they can give immunity to whoever they want. Okay. And they can make that choice. I don't even make that choice. So if they, like I said earlier, they want your testimony, they figure it's that the jury needs to hear what you have to say, good, bad, or indifferent. And that's what Miss Hilton is telling you, is just tell me the truth as you know it and let her worry about, even though you may have said different versions of whatever, that's for impeachment. That's not going to get you in trouble. What will get you in trouble is just invoking your Fifth Amendment privilege because you have been given immunity. Or as Miss Love said this morning, remember Miss Love said, if you overtly lie about something, like if you tell a bold-faced whopper, then they're going to indict you on that particular charge. That particular false statement. Lil Woody, that's what they're going to do. Miss Bumpus, That is what I was saying. You will be right back here. Miss Hilton. But if you say something that you know you did not do, like you admit to something you know you did not do, whether you, Little Woody, like murder don't have like no statute of limitations, right? Oh, God. Miss Hilton. But if you didn't do it, I can't charge you with something you didn't do because I don't have any other evidence but you saying it. Little Woody. But y'all don't like Miss Bumpus. You can charge him with false statements and he will be back in jail. That is what I'm trying to say. Miss Hilton. But if I know that you're lying about that, I don't intend to do that. But if I know right now he's lying, I know he's lying. I'm not going to charge you because I don't know your reason for doing that. But I'm not going to charge you when I know you didn't do what you are trying to say you did now. And that can be a part of this. I know you didn't do it. Little Woody. But it's up to the judge to do that, Miss Hilton. No, it's up to the state to bring charges. Glanville. I don't have anything to do with that. Miss Hilton. He has nothing to do with bringing charges. That's up to the state of Georgia. Little Woody. Can I talk to my family and I will make my decision right after I hang up the phone? Miss Bumpus. He's saying he hasn't been able to speak to anybody. Miss Hilton. His sister just called us. Little Woody, y'all done me wrong. Y'all just hold me in jail. Don't let me get no PIN number, no nothing. Miss Hilton, we have no knowledge. We did not know that you, Miss Bumpus, he hasn't been able to do anything, speak to anyone. Little Woody, the jail system down, but y'all still putting people in it. Miss Hilton, that part I don't know. I don't know. We have been in communication with your sister. Your sister actually texted Miss Lenskoy to make sure you were okay. We told her we physically have laid eyes on you. I'll leave that up to the sheriffs. I don't know. Little Woody. So what you think she's saying? Miss Hilton, I can't tell you right now. Little Woody, I'm talking about that locking me back up. Miss Hilton, we would have to bring charges. There would be no incentive. Little Woody, y'all will. Miss Hilton, we've already had this discussion. Little Woody, look at what you did to me. You waited until Friday and did this. I done told you every day before Friday came that I was pleading the fifth. Miss Hilton, no, you did not. As a matter of fact, our last Glanville. Mr. Copeland, let's see if we can get beyond this, okay? Beyond what your concern is. You could have invoked the Fifth Amendment privilege. The state could have turned over around and said, stop, had me go ahead and file that motion and given you immunity. It was going to, they can make that decision. They decided to make it on Friday. So even if you would have been more comfortable testifying or invoking your Fifth Amendment privilege, they could decide you as a witness, they want your testimony more than they do you invoking our Fifth Amendment privilege. So they give you immunity. They gave you immunity. So you've got to testify truthfully as to what your knowledge of the particular incident is. So they could have done that anyway. Even if they put you on the stand, they could have said stop and gone ahead and given you immunity. They could have done that. Little Woody. So can I get it in some type of writing that if I was to testify that if she feels as if I lied about anything, they won't lock me back up? Glanville. Let me have that, Miss Bumpus. Miss Bumpus hands a document to Glanville. Glanville says, Mr. Copeland, on page 2 of the order, according to OCGA 245507, however, no testimony given by Kenneth Copeland as required under this order or any information directly or indirectly derived from testimony of Kenneth Copeland is required under this order shall be used against said Kenneth Copeland in any proceeding or prosecution for a crime or offense concerning which he testifies under this order. Okay? So you testify about some aggravated assault or murder, they can't prosecute you on it because that is what it says in the order. Okay? The only thing that will get you in trouble this next little paragraph. Kenneth Copeland shall be subject to prosecution or the penalty or forfeiture for any perjury, false swearing, or contempt committed in testifying or failing to testify in accordance with this order. However, it is ordered that Kenneth Copeland shall not be required to produce evidence that can be used in any other court in this state, the United States, or any state. So basically, if you commit perjury, false swearing, or contempt committed in testifying, that means if you just invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege or failing to testify, you say, I'm not going to testify. All right. So the only two real things you can kind of get in trouble for are perjury and false swearing, as long as you tell the truth. Now, as Ms. Hilton and Ms. Bumpus said earlier, you may have been told or have been asked about situations over and over again. They may have changed. When the state is asking you to do, what the state is asking you to do is tell the version that really is the truth. If they want to impeach you, they can do that. Or if the other side wants to impeach you, they can do that. You won't get in trouble for that. Little Woody, you said I will. Glanville, you will not. You will not. Impeachment is not perjury or false swearing. Okay? Little Woody, but she said I can purge myself though. Miss Hilton, no. We're saying two different things. Sorry. Perjury is if you get on the stand and you just say a bold-faced lie, just something that is just wrong. Say you say, I did something, and all the other times you said, I have not done it. And really, while it's perjury, it's really just an inconsistent statement. Oh my God. Like if you get on the stand and say, I did X, but in 2015, you said, I never did X, then that is what I'm going to impeach. I'm going to impeach you on everything you said in 2015, meaning I'm going to say, okay, today you said I did X, but in 2015, Lieutenant Dean enters the chambers. Lieutenant Dean, we have a security issue. We need to stop for a minute. If we can stop for a second, please. Judge Glanville and Lieutenant Dean exited the chambers at 10:45. Glanville returned 2 minutes later at 10:47. Miss Hilton, I don't know what was told to you on Friday. I have no reason to want you in prison. You have spent enough time in prison for YSL, period. So why would I want that for you? It doesn't make no sense. I said it to you before, and I will say it to you again in front of all these people. It makes no sense. Little Woody, you just said I'm going to have to stay in jail until the last. Miss Hilton, if you don't testify, get this part through your head. If you don't testify, that is the only thing that is holding you. That is literally the only thing holding you right now is the fact that you keep saying, I'm not going to testify. Well, you haven't said it today. I'm not testifying. I plead the fifth. If you get up there and I want you to tell the truth, like I said before, if you don't recall certain things, you can say you don't recall. That's fine. I want you to tell the truth. I don't expect you to remember every single detail from 2015. I just don't. No one here does. But what I do expect for you is to answer questions so we can get through this. So you can go home, be with your baby for her birthday, see those dogs deliver their babies, go talk to your nephews, and do all these other things. Little Woody, how you know about my dogs? Miss Hilton, because you told me. Little Woody, okay. Miss Bumpus, what's wrong? Little Woody, I'm stressing at another level like Miss Bumpus. I'm just saying. Little Woody, I'm weak. Man, I'm not playing. I'm dead serious, man. Like Miss Hilton, this is what our position is. We do not want him in custody. We want him to tell the truth. We want him to testify. That's what will get him out of jail. And you have to make Miss Bumpus. If he decides in 2 weeks he wants to testify, then what? Miss Hilton, if he wants to stay in jail for 2 weeks, then I don't know why you would want to stay in jail for 2 weeks. I have no idea. Miss Bumpus, he just feels like he's under a lot of pressure right now. Mr. Copeland or Little Woody, even at the jail, you can't give me a house arrest. Miss Hilton, no, you can go home by taking the stand and testifying. That's what and again, sorry guys, let me shut this window. It's really distracting. 1 second. 1 second. Like I'm thinking of the sound over here. Sorry, inner city sounds. Okay, Miss Hilton, no, you can go home by taking the stand and testifying. That's what Glanville, and come back tomorrow. Miss Hilton, we keep on saying yet, but there's no crime. We keep on saying yet, I don't know who's really telling you about a crime. There is no crime. You have done nothing wrong except for Little Woody. So why am I in jail then? Miss Hilton, because you aren't testifying. Little Woody, but that ain't nothing wrong. It's not a crime. Miss Hilton, it's not a crime that you're in civil contempt. The court, Glanville, 2 things. Because you invoked your privilege after you've been given immunity, that is why you're in custody, because you get out by testifying. So you testify, you get out. That's why I was going to bring you why I brought you here early today, just to inquire about that. You can remain and hold your position of invoking the fifth or not testifying, but you go back to prison. You go back to jail because that's Lil Woody. You can't sentence me? Miss Bumpus, there's no sentence. Glanville, there's no sentence. The contempt is compliance. We want your testimony. That's all they want, whatever that may be. Lil Woody, I don't know what it is, Your Honor. Miss Hilton, so listen. You're in jail for failing to testify. Glanville, failing to testify. Miss Hilton, not for nothing else. There is no crime. You ain't done nothing wrong. I don't know if people are telling you what we are going to charge you with. Nothing. We are not charging you. The state charges you. There is nothing we are charging you with. You're only in custody because you have decided not to testify. That's it. Once you decide to testify, Glanville, remember that word you were talking about, purge? Lil Woody, The court, okay, you can purge right now. Purge, get yourself out of jail just by testifying. Lil Woody, I can purge and get out of jail? Glanville, yes, just by testifying. Miss Hilton, not perjury. Glanville, purge, meaning you can get out of jail. You can get out of jail, out of custody just by testifying. Lil Woody, and what about the other one, the other word, perjury? Glanville, that's different. Miss Hilton, that's different. Glanville, that's a different word. Okay? Lil Woody, that can get me back in jail? Miss Hilton, yes. Glanville, perjury is, Miss Hilton, it's not what you are saying it's not what you are saying is not perjury. What you are saying is what we call a prior inconsistent statement. Your example that you gave me, what if I said I did something and I know you didn't do it and you said before you didn't do it? That's not perjury. That's a prior inconsistent statement. Miss Bumpus, you've got to make a decision. So if he starts testifying today, he's going to go home today? Miss Hilton, he should, so long as he remains. But if you get up there and be like, if you get up there testifying and then we get into it and you start saying, I plead the fifth, we're going to be back here again. Miss Bumpus, but if he says he don't recall to everything, he'll be okay? Miss Hilton, I'm not advising that. But so long as he answers the questions, that's fine. So long as he, Lil Woody, I did these crimes. I'm telling you that. Miss Hilton, okay. I don't know what you're talking about, but Miss Bumpus, I think you are saying you want to get up there on the stand and say something. Lil Woody, he stayed quiet. No response. Miss Bumpus, did we find out if he could talk to his family? No? Miss Hilton, I mean, if it's okay, we got the sister's phone number. Lil Woody, as my attorney, you gotta, Miss Hilton, if y'all want to talk, let me go somewhere. I can't hear you. The judge is over there, so just speak low so he doesn't hear you. Glanville, hold on. Judge Glanville handed a document to Attorney Kayla Bumpus and exited chambers with Assistant District Attorney Simone Hilton, Investigator Long, Investigator Hamilton, and Court Reporter Christina Weaver from 10:53 to 11:28. Okay, so it does look like Lil Woody got at least 35 minutes with Kayla, with Miss Bumpus. Moving on. Glanville. Okay, all right. Mr. Copeland, have you had an opportunity to talk with Miss Bumpus, your lawyer, and Miss Hilton and the state's counsel? Have you got any other questions? Lil Woody? No, Your Honor. Glanville, is it your desire to give testimony today? Lil Woody? Yes, sir. Glanville, okay, all right then. Do you all have some clothes for him? Miss Hilton? I don't know. Let me go take a look. What size are you? Lil Woody, I can't hear you. Miss Hilton, what size are you? Lil Woody, little. Investigator Hamilton, we've had a large jacket for him on Friday. Large. Miss Hilton, you had a jacket for him? Investigator Hamilton, yes. Miss Hilton, oh, but he can't wear a large? Glanville, what is your waist size? 34? Lil Woody, 32. Glanville, chest, what are you? 34? 34, 6 chest? Hilton, probably 36. Woody, not in my chest. What you mean? Guys, we have our first what you mean citing in this document. It's wonderful. I really enjoyed that. Glanville, what are they going to try to get you some clothes? They are going to try to get you some clothes so you don't have to testify wearing that jail uniform, okay? Lil Woody, Y'all don't want to show the people how y'all did me? Look, Glanville, look, Miss Hilton, if we can't find clothes, then you may have until tomorrow. Little Woody, I prefer to go in like this. Miss Hilton, I understand what your preference is. Little Woody, nah, don't hide it. Miss Bumpus, can you make him put on clothes? Miss Hilton, no. Lil Woody, I want to go in there like this. Miss Hilton, fine with me. Glanville, all right? Okay. Mr. Little Woody, y'all aren't going to try and lock me back up for this? Miss Hilton, so long as you testify, we will get an order to get you released. Miss Bumpus, today. Glanville, whose copy is this? Miss Hilton, you've got to make sure you come back now. I want to be real clear. Little Woody, when have I ever ran? Miss Hilton, you have not. That's the only thing. You have not. Glanville, whose copy is this? Miss Hilton, that was ours. Do you want a copy? You can take it though. Miss Bumpus, okay. Miss Hilton, do you still have yours or you threw it away? Miss Bumpus, I'm going to give him both of these things so he can have some information. Miss Hilton, okay. The court reporter, are we off the record now? Glanville, are we done? Miss Bumpus, yes, I believe so. Glanville, okay, we're good. See everybody downstairs in about 10 minutes. The proceedings concluded at 11:31 a.m. This is a certificate. This is signed by Christina Weaver, the court reporter, certifying that everything on here is true and the way that it was transcribed. And ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the background noise. That is the transcript from the secret meeting.